Welcome back to Bone Smoke and Sizzle, and today I got something special for you. I'm not gonna do any sausages today, so today I'm gonna do a spiced, smoky flavored pork belly with beef in a jar. But before we do that, we also need to do a fair amount of preparation, which means we have to sterilize the jars, we have to cook it at 100 degrees, make sure everything is clean, so we try to avoid any germs as much as possible. Cut the meat itself, marinate the meat, fill it into the jars, cook the jars, and then let it cool down overnight. Anyway, for any two, let's get started with it and let me show you what I'm doing here. So what I'm having here is, I have the scale here because I need to know the exact weight for all the spices I put into it. A sharp knife, of course. I need a little cup here to mix, because for the aspic, then a bowl where I can weigh that stuff into it, a mixing tray that's been sterilized as well, so that's very clean. In here I have my cooker here, that's a 24 or 25 liter cooker, and in here I also cook sausages, and in this case as well the jars. So those jars have already been sterilized at 100 degrees. So everything is in there what I need, and take them out a little bit later, let them cool down, put them aside and start filling them up. So as you can see, everything has to be clean, everything has to be perfect for this one here. So take your time, make sure it's clean, because when you have any thing on it which isn't clean, the risk of bacteria increases, and we try to avoid that one here. Let's start off with cutting the meat, also weighing the meat, cutting the meat, and then prepare the spices for it. Okay, to start off here, I got 4.3 kilos here. There is the pork belly in here. It has no bones in it, but I leave the gristle in it, because like end of the day, I don't want to cut it open, so I leave this in, because it gets trimmed off anyway. And here I have beef from the shoulder, which is underneath the blade. I will trim everything off it, get the sinews out of it, get the skin off it, from the bone skins off it, and get most of the fat off, what we don't want, and trim it down. So if I split the meat, I have 2.6 kilos of pork belly and 1.6 kilo of beef. After trimming, of course, it's going to be a bit less, but I'll show you what I have then once I'm finished with. Okay, so the first thing what I do is start off with the pork belly. Just make sure there's no bones in there, any leftovers, any splinters. That's the last thing I want. Usually you could have them here. See, there's one here. So I take them out. And I feel one here too. So I'll just put this aside. A bit more here. It's good. It's also good. It's good. The gristle itself, I leave in the cartilage. And I trim it out a bit later on, otherwise I need to cut it open. That bigger one here is the only one which I'm gonna trim out. The meat I keep. So. Good. So let's cut it down. Hopefully you're seeing what I'm doing. Yes, you do. Good. So I cut this in about 1 centimeter strips. I don't want it any bigger. And I trim this down a bit later on. The reason why I do 1 centimeter strips, because I don't do big chunks. So I do it in bite size afterwards once it's done. And that one here, it saves me to marinate it overnight. And I'm just speeding up the process here a little bit. Make sure your knife is sharp. I leave the skin on. Why do I leave the skin on? Simple as that, because like I want the skin, when it cooks, it produces gelatin. And I want that gelatin inside the jar. That's why I leave the skin on. And if somebody doesn't like the skin, he can always take it off after the cooking. So let me cut this finished now, and once I'm finished with the cutting, I'm coming back to you. So I'm nearly done with it. And what is good is if you got on the pork belly also a little bit of fat in there, so that's a good belly. And you can see I'm cutting just about 1 centimeter strips. Don't want it any bigger. And like as I said before, I leave this now. A sharp knife helps. So what I will do is now is, you see the skin is on, and I'm gonna trim it about 3 centimeters long. So I cut it into chunks. And now I can take the bones out here, you see. So that's fine. As you can see, the size is, what's that, 3 by 2, 4 by 2, 2.5. So it's just bite size. And the thing is, when I'm doing it this way, it marinates also better and quicker. Because I'm not using table salt with this one here. I'm using rock salt. Butter salt. So I get a nice pink color throughout. So let me cut all this stuff here, and once I'm finished, I'm gonna come back, trim the beef, and then we start preparing the herbs. Okay, the pork belly is trimmed now and cut into cubes. So they literally bite-size the skin on. So that's ready. And I have here now 2.5 kilos, the 48 grams we leave, so it's 2.5 kilo. I will start off on the beef shoulder now. Those are the cut-offs from the gristle itself. So there was just a little bit in there. I cut it away, so that's done. So there's no gristle in there and no bone in there now. Let's start with the beef. Just as a tip as well, like once you're from the beef shoulder this big here, there's the shoulder blade in here, and this is the part for underneath the shoulder blade. It's good because like it's a coarser muscle. You need to trim out the senior in here and this layer between here as well. So you need to cut it open and then skin off all the gristles you find from the bones. So let's start off here. So we just cut through here. You see that's fairly thick. So I'll get this off. So if you just slide the knife underneath, it comes off, you see, so that's fine. Because if you don't cut this off, that will be chewy, that will not cook down, so you need to get rid of that. So the first part is down. Good. I will now keep trimming on the beef itself until it's ready. Cube it down as well. But always, if you look at it, how the fiber runs here, and you always make sure that you cut the fiber. So otherwise, if you don't cut the fibers, if the fiber runs this way and you cut that way, then you got a chewy part. So if the fiber runs this way, you cut across the fiber. That makes it more tender when you cook it and also when you eat it. Anyway, I'll be carrying on with this one here now, and once I'm finished, I will be coming back to you. Also on the back, make sure you take the back of it. And the best thing is get your knife underneath and slide it along that the skin itself, the sinew, and that way you trim it off nicely and leave the most of the meat where it should be, as you can see here. So there's this thing here, that's it. So that's off. I'll put this aside now, because I trim off the leftover of the meat what's on there. So that's it. So that side is clean as well. The top half is clean. I will start trimming it now. Take the middle sinew out and then chop down the beef. The beef itself I will cube in about 1 centimeter cubes, because I mix it in with the pork belly. Let me finish this one here, and once I'm done, I'm gonna come back to you. So I'm nearly done with it. See, there's all the sinews and everything, all those things have been trimmed out. Because like they can be really chewy, because it's from underneath the shoulder. You don't want that. So as you can see here as well, is I'm cutting like so 1 centimeter stripes. And this one here I will chop finer, of course, because I want some cubes in there, and then mix it in. With that spiced, smoky flavored pork belly in a jar, you don't need to put beef in there. I just put beef in there because I like it, and it gives a bit different texture and also a little bit of different flavor profile. So you could actually just make it with the pork belly on its own. You don't need to add beef, but as I say, flavor-wise it's better with the beef, because the beef has its own stock as well, like its juice, and the belly has its juice, so it gives a nice mixture. So let me finish off this one here, and then we start mixing up the spice mixture and get the salt ready, get everything ready for that, so we can start preparing the belly itself. So the beef is also done now. It's nicely trimmed and cut in the smaller cubes. All the sinews and everything has gone off. If you remember, that was 1.6 kilos, and I have now 1.2 kilos. So 400 grams has been cut off on sinews, all that what is between the skins and everything, which is very chewy. So I got 1.2 kilo here. If I add in the belly now, let's see what we got there. So what do we have? 3.8 kilos. So I will prepare the herbs and the spices and the salt for 3.8 kilos. So let me get ready for this one here, and then I'll show you what I'm putting into it. So let's start off mixing the spice mixture. I'm sure you're waiting for that as well now. Let me show you what I'm putting into that, and what weights and everything. I hope this works. Let's see if you see something here. Yeah, that should do. All right. So I'm starting off with the salt. And salt, I'm using 20 grams per kilo, and I'm using buckle salt. And so I'm using, I got 3.8 kilos, so that's 76 grams I use, and normally it's 20 grams per kilo. The buckle salt will give a nice pink color itself, plus it helps as well preserving. 76 grams. Then I'm using brown sugar, raw sugar, and I'm using 5 grams per kilo. I got 3.8, so I rounded up to 4, so 5 grams, so that's I put in 20 grams. So that's 20 grams of sugar. And the salt we've done. Then I have smoked chili here. This is medium heat. I'll be also using 5 grams per kilo. So I rounded off to 4 again. So that's 20 grams. And that smoked chili, medium heat, also gives a nice smoky flavor into it. Then I got sweet paprika here. And here I'm using also 5 grams, but this one is not hot. It's literally just a mild sweet paprika. So I put in another 20 grams here, so 5 grams per kilo as well. Then I have caraway seeds. Caraway seeds I put in 1 gram per kilo. I leave them whole. I don't trim them down. So I put in 4 grams. So it's 1 gram per kilo. Pepper. I add in 3 grams per kilo, so I'm adding 12 grams. I use coarse pepper. Then thyme. I'll be adding in 1/2 gram per kilo. As I got 4 kilos, I put in 2 grams. Then I want juniper berries. Now, juniper berries I leave whole. So those ones are, once they're cooked, they give it a good flavor. And what I do is here, there's about 10 juniper berries is 1 gram, so I put in 4 grams. So again, 1 gram per kilo. So I got 6 grams in there. That's if you don't like too much juniper berries, you can leave them out or you take them out. Now I put 1 gram per kilo into it. I do like juniper berries, and because it's for me anyway, that batch, I will increase it by another gram. So I put in 2 grams per kilo. That gives a stronger flavor, of course. It's a gamier flavor. But if you don't like it, leave the juniper berries out or just reduce to 1 gram per kilo. The other thing what I do is, which is a bit controversial, I'm using aspic, which is 1 sachet here. You can use any aspic you want. Remember, I left the pork skin on the belly. That gives me some aspic when it cooks, but I want some more, so I add it in without adding extra the water to it at the moment. So just a try mix. One of those mixes is enough for 250 ml, because I got 4 kilo there, so that's just perfect. So that's it, that's the mixture. And what I will do is now is I put some gloves on and I rub everything into that mixture. There's a really good smell of it. So let me put some gloves on. The other thing is what I have here. I got garlic, but I keep them out. I have fresh garlic here. So here I got fresh garlic, but that's 40 grams. I put in 10 grams per kilo. I will chop them a bit later and also put them into it. But first I want to mix this into it. Just a tip, when you use gloves, buy the gloves without the powder in there, because you don't want to use gloves with powder. So, that's it. Let's give this a good mix, so all the meat is covered and all the herbs, spices, salt is evenly on the meat. Plus also you want to mix in the, because I use beef as well, I want to mix in the beef separately as well. So it's nice and evenly distributed. So the meat has now taken on all the herb and the salt. It's good. You really can smell it. It's really, there will be a nice flavor. If you like, for an example, if you like caraway seeds, you can increase the caraway seeds. If you like more pepper, you can increase pepper. If you want more heat, you increase it. You add some extra chili to it. Good. I let this rest now for about 1 hour. So the meat has time to pre-cure a little bit before it gets cooked. So, in the meantime, I will chop the garlic quickly and mix the garlic in as well, and then set it aside. Okay, the garlic is in as well. As I chop the garlic just coarse and mix them in. As I say, there's 10 grams per kilo fresh garlic in there. So after it has rested, I just literally take it out from here, put it into jars, and then I show you the next steps. I'll let this rest now for 1 hour so I can pre-work a little bit on this, cure a little bit, and then I put it into jars. The jars already been sterilized. I take them out from the water now, let them drip off, and prepare the next step. Okay, the meat has now rested for an hour, so I had time to cure. I also picked something up from the garden, some black chilies, which I grow myself, and I will add them into it. I'm not so sure if I can see them. They are medium hot, depends, sometimes more, sometimes a bit less, but an average about medium hot. So anyway, let me fill now those jars. Let me show you what I'm doing, and then also get that little special chili in it. Okay, so let's start filling the jars. As I say, I have sterilized them before. I just give this one here another mix. I hope the camera doesn't wobble too much at the moment. So now what I do is I just shove this into the jars. And I fill them up to about 3/4. That will do. And this one here also gets a chili on the side. So put the seal on it. Where do I have my clips? I use those jars which have clips not the screw top ones. Simple as that, because that allows better the air to escape when it's heated. So you just fill it up to about 3/4, and that's done. There's no water going in here. It will have its own juice. And a little chili. That's it. It's a really tasty treat, and once it's done, it's really good. You can have it any given time, either cold, bit of bread with it. Also, the thing what I have here is those jars which are wide on the top and narrow on the bottom to get it easier out. I don't have too many of them, but I use them first, and then I use the rest what I have. Chili. Not all of them get chili, just a few of them. So we have different flavors. Make sure the seal is done properly, because what happens then during the cooking process, there's going to be a higher pressure in there, so the air what's in there will escape, and once it cools down, there's no air going back in, because the under pressure, which is then inside the jar, forms a seal itself, and during the cooking process the air will escape, so there's overpressure and pushes the air out. Oh, where's my lid? That's in here. This is just another way, instead of making sausages, to create something really tasty. So the next thing is I use now the bigger jars, because the other ones, small ones, are gone now. Actually, I do have one small one. Use this one up first. Make sure that the seal sits properly. That's very important. We have more chilies, yes we do. And chili in the side. Done. Seal on top. Those bigger jars, the seal is better on here. Yeah. And the flavor will be, you know, on some you might have a little bit more garlic in there, because like the garlic is coarse chopped, and on some you have a bit less garlic in there, and some of them you have a bit more pork in there, and on other ones you have might a little bit more beef in there, or juniper berries. But that's normal, because like you pre-mix everything, so it's not going to be every jar 100% like the other one. Too much. I still have chilies here. Chili going in. So I got one more jar, so I don't have enough jars here. The rest I just use in the stir fry. That's the last jar here. And a chili. Different type of glass. Right, that's done. The rest what I have here is probably another 1.5 to 2 kilos. I use it, as I said, I fry them up separately, and the rest of the jars, they're done. You see you have a little bit of air in there, that's fine, it all comes out. It will cook on its own juice. So let's put them into the kettle, boil them up. The kettle I will set now to 90 degrees. It takes about a half hour or so to heat up because the water in there is cold. And then I will cook it in there, not for 90 minutes, which is normally a rule of the thumb, because the temperature to kill germs, you need to be between 70 and 80 to kill most of the germs. Ideally, if you want to have it a long shelf life, you need to go on a temperature of 125 degrees Celsius and hold it there as well for at least 30 minutes. I can't reach 125 in the kettle. I can reach a maximum of 100 to 110, even with the lid on it with lid seat. So the maximum what I can get up to is 100, let's say. So what I will do is now is I will cook it in there for 3 hours at 90 degrees. So after about 3 hours, the core temperature is about 80, and then I will increase the temperature to 100 and leave it in there for another hour. So it cooks actually 4 hours. Now you might say that's a bit too long. Yes, for cooking that small amount is too long, but because I'm cooking it longer, A, the risk of germs is reduced, and B, the pork and the beef will get much softer, so it will have a great bite in it. Anyway, let me get started with this one here, and let's fill up the kettle. So you can see, I just put the bigger ones on the bottom. Make sure the jars can move freely. And I have them all under water. So there's one more. There we go. That will do. Great, so I will switch this on now and set it to 90C. Switch it on, off you go. And now the water will start to heat up, takes a half hour, so in about 3.5 hours I check and then increase the heat for another hour. You can hear she starts off already, so perfect. See you a bit later. So the little bit which was left over, I put it in vacuum bags now. So I'm vacuum sealing them now. There they are. So I made 2 packets and I will use that in a stir fry sometime in a week, in a 2, I don't know. I put them in the freezer till I need them. And that's it. That's why there's nothing wasted and you can use everything. And I'm also sure in that mix, the beef and the pork with that herb will also be very, very nice in a stir fry. Of course you got the skin on it, but you can always take it off. So it should be tasty as well. Anyway, I will get back to you once the stuff is cooked and I'll show you what it looks like. So those jars there are in now for an hour. So let's have a look there quickly. Oops. Let me get some light up here. You also can see I'm not so sure if you can see that the air bubbles are coming out. The jars are filling itself because like the meat of course and everything is expanding now. So they will be full by the time it's finished. And of course during the cooking process there's now overpressure in there. And because of that the air bubbles are coming out. So it pushes through the rubber. That's why I prefer the jars not with a lid, with a rubber seal. I prefer them. And once they've been cooked and all the air is out and I take them out, then there is an under pressure inside the jar, which means that the outside pressure pushes even more onto it and seals it better. Anyway, let's have a look back once they're cooked. So there's still another 2 hours to go, and then I come back to it. So the spiced smoked flavored pork belly with the beef is cooked. It has cooked now for the last 3 hours between 90 and 95 degrees. Let me show you what it looks like. And I will take them out now. So they are done. So I will let off the water, take them out and cover them and let them cool down slowly overnight. And tomorrow I will show you what they look like when they are cold. I've let out the water now. They're in here. So I will be lifting them out now and put them aside and cover them. So as you can see, they're all in their own juices. They're extremely hot at the moment. They're still bubbling. What I will do now is I will cover them and let them cool down slowly. Just lift one up there so you can see. You see, in their own juice. They're just perfect. So they will be really tasty. It's a perfect spiced pork belly with beef, smoked flavor because of smoked paprika, which is in there. There's the garlic, there's the juniper berries, there's the chili in there. It's going to be a fantastic flavored snack. So I'll show you tomorrow when they are cold what they look like. Okay, the meat had now time to rest for about 8-10 hours. So it is nicely cooled down, and it's the next day. So let me show you what it looks like. As you can see, it's all covered. It's important to cool it down slowly. And you can see the fat, everything has settled. So it's really nice. It's looking really good. Of course, the fat is now reddish because of the paprika and everything. So it's perfect. What I will do now is I will open up one, open up the smaller one for a taster. It's this one here. I will open this one up. So let me get ready quickly and I open this one here. Let's have a look. for a start if this is sealed, so I remove the clamps. So the clamps are removed and the lid is holding on it, so I'm just holding it at the lid. So that shows you that the brush on its own, because the air is removed, so that's a good seal. Let's open that. Did you hear that? So that's very good. That's what we want. This is what it looks like in the inside now. So I will take this out now, see if I can get it out in one hit. The smell of it is fantastic. Here we go. Really nice flavor. Yep, look at that. Does that look good or what? So let me cut this one here. Oh, you can see the jelly here. You see? Nice pink color. Very nice. Look at this. That's what I call for a bite size. I must taste this, of course. Perfect. A slight smoky flavor. The skin is just soft, it's like jelly. A tiny little bit of heat in there because of the chili and of the smoked chili, the smoked paprika what I put in there, the spicy one. Really nice. Also this one here is a perfect treat if you want to make it yourself. And trust me, it's probably one of the best spiced smoky pork belly with beef flavored preserve we ever make in a jar. So give it a go, try it out and let me know how you get on. What you have to do is now is, as they have cooled down, and they have cooled down 18 hours now, put them in the fridge and they should last for about 4 weeks, for about a month. If you have rocked properly, that means they have been properly cooked, the heat you have reached, you use good materials and you work cleanly. So you have sterilized all the jars and all the equipment what you use for it. Then you will have a perfect preserved pork belly with beef in a jar. Till then, I wish you all the best, have fun and start making sausages and preserves. See you then, bye bye.